a university professor in finance looked up the value of Caitlin Clark for the WNBA. This is insane. So this year, last season in the WNBA, Caitlin Clark was 26.5% of all economic activity as a rookie on the worst team in the league when she entered it. So now she has an 8-year, $128 million deal with Nike. So, you know, she's going to eat. Merchandise in the league went up off a rookie from a Midwest-based school on the worst team in the league, $230.
It seems that trading Caitlin Clark has now become an actual topic of discussion. Just as Indiana was starting to calm down, Colin Cowherd jumps in, fueling the rumor mill like it's his day job. The man has strong opinions, and this one could ignite a full-blown basketball controversy. Is he overreacting? Definitely. But is he entirely off the mark? That's where it gets interesting.
Caitlin Clark finished 9th in player voting. In fact, she finished behind one of her own teammates in player voting. The pettiness has no bounds. For years, the WNBA players were pointing fingers. They were saying people are sexist, we're not being promoted, we're underappreciated. And then they get the golden goose and they don't like what it looks like. When the wave hits, ride it. They wanted to fly private. They wanted to be more popular. They wanted sold out arenas. They got it. I wouldn't have guessed that Caitlin Clark would be this.
And here we are again, watching the WNBA come up with new ways to self-sabotage, as if it were a competitive event. Forget strengthening rosters or expanding the fan base. They seem to have moved on to orchestrated plot twists. The latest brilliant idea? Trade Caitlin Clark like she's a collectible card and call it strategy. As if that wouldn't set the entire league ablaze. Not just Indiana. This move could ignite the whole league in a spectacular display of mismanagement and chaos.
The WNBA continues to get the kind of attention they shouldn't want. All right, again, Colin Cowherd is making a point to talk about the WNBA again. He does it now multiple times a week, but only when it comes to one player. Or in this case, one player and what it is the rest of the league is doing to her.
Let's get real. Trading Caitlin Clark wouldn't just hurt the fever. It would sink the league's only surefire cash generator. This isn't simply about losing a player. It's about losing the story that drives everything. Clark isn't just handling a basketball. She's carrying an entire franchise, and honestly, she's put half the WNBA back on the map on her own. Every ticket sold, every jersey printed, every headline written. She's left her mark on it all.
This is clearly them cutting her down, because when you look at fan voting, obviously Clark is one, right? Because she has the most fans in the league. So that clearly biased. You go to the media voting.
She was 3.
She was 3. That actually makes sense.
I agree. She's not having the best of years this year. She's actually, her shooting is down.
Exactly.
There's been a number of situations that she's just not played her best ball. But she is still much, eons better than a lot of the other players that they voted in front of her.
Now picture taking all that hard-earned momentum and shipping it off like a FedEx package. That's the kind of move that makes fans toss their remotes, cancel season tickets, and start watching pickleball just out of pure frustration. There's dumb. And then there's historically stupid. And this would be the latter, served with extra flair.
Caitlin Clark had another, whatever you want to call it, confrontation in a WNBA game. Like, why is this happening? The Caitlin Clark phenomenon is one that I got wrong. I never really thought that Caitlin Clark would make the difference that she has in college basketball or in the WNBA. What other sports analogies are out there that are in any way similar to the impact that one individual has had on a larger sporting universe? Tiger was.
But it gets even more absurd. Not only are we entertaining trade rumors as if the league has a surplus of stars to gamble with, But the coaching situation reads like a soap opera plot twist. The same coach who once sat back while Clark got poked in the eye as if it were halftime entertainment is now conveniently her boss. What's next? Hiring the trainer who iced her ankles to run conditioning? It's not even subtle. This isn't coaching, it's a setup, a carefully staged performance dressed up with lanyards and clipboards. The message is clear. Silence the star, dim the spotlight, and pretend it's all for the good of the team. But everyone sees it. Clark wasn't just benched, she was politically sidelined. And the front office? They didn't just hire a coach, they orchestrated the whole scene.
She doesn't always get the consistent great star whistle. I think they're still kind of figuring out how to officiate her. Right? Like when I've said this for years when I covered Shaq and Shaq got fouled more than anybody I've ever seen. I mean, it was insane. People bounced off Shaq. Jokic complains constantly. Like, people are bouncing off me. She doesn't quite get as favorable a whistle as you think. So I think
neither does Steph too. That's the funny.
The coach in question comes with a suspiciously familiar track record of selective justice and passive-aggressive benching. Let's be honest, Clark and this coach don't mesh, and that's putting it mildly. Their basketball chemistry is like oil meeting a dumpster fire. The system isn't just failing to accommodate her, it's actively pushing her out. This isn't a simple clash of styles, it's a full-blown Cold War on the court. And the consequences are clear every time she's pulled from the game, while some random bench player racks up minutes like it's a volunteer gig.
We all know who Caitlin Clark is. She's the golden goose, laying those golden eggs for the WNBA to prosper. Well, a lot of times we notice that the WNBA is resisting this golden goose and resisting this bump and this force of nature, which is Caitlin Clark. So we're going to have to dive deep into that. What's behind that? Is it jealousy, envy, pettiness, all the above, more than that? We're going to have to go.
And why would a league that finally has fans glued to the screen pull a stunt like this? The answer is simple. Control. Control the narrative. Control the star. Keep the fans engaged, but never empowered. The last thing they want is a player with real leverage that's dangerous, disruptive, and unbenchable. So what do they do when they can't stop the momentum? They hire someone who can. They slap on a polite smile, label it player development, and call it a day. The only thing developing is a damaged reputation and a frustrated fan base armed with receipts. This coach wasn't just hired, she was strategically positioned. And if the conspiracy vibes feel strong, that's because the message is practically screaming at you.
Now let's look at the viewership, right? So I'm looking at here. So before the WNBA, before Caitlin arrived, the WNBA averaged around 300,000 to 400,000 viewers per game on national television, right? 300,000 to 400,000 viewership, right? The 2023 season, they said they saw an average of 367,000 viewers, right? When Caitlin Clark came, with her presence, viewership has increased with some games drawing over 1 million viewers, right? Caitlin Clark's WNBA draft for her drew 2.45 million viewers. That's crazy. So that means these people and what she did in college and bringing them all to the WNBA scale, people are watching the WNBA because of Caitlin.
The WNBA seems determined to sabotage its biggest star, Caitlin Clark, under the guise of team development and controlled narratives. Instead of embracing the player who's driven viewership, ticket sales, and national attention, the league benches her, hires a coach with a vendetta, and imposes a culture that dilutes her impact. Fans see it, media sees it, and even casual viewers notice the passive-aggressive targeting. Clark isn't just a player. She's the league's momentum, the reason ratings soar, and the centerpiece of its growth. Yet the front office treats her like a liability, ranking her low among peers while touting meaningless buzzwords about system fit and equity. It's not coaching. It's political theater, a slow erosion of greatness disguised as culture building. If the league continues down this path, they won't just risk a lost season. They'll risk losing the star, her fan base, and the very gravity that keeps the WNBA relevant.